go into John Wick.
All
right, so we're not really going to be spoiling John Wick because there's not really anything to spoil about this. You go to a John Wick film to watch John Wick do what he does best, which is killing everybody, right? And he does it in very creative ways. In fact, I'll be talking about John Wick 3, right? Robert will be talking about John Wick 1 and 2, okay? Yeah, and so there's, like I said, we're not spoiling anything. I mean, there's parts that you can spoil, but we're not going to do that. You're not going to be disappointed.
We already talked about, we already would have spoiled Endgame. They're either mad at us now or they're not.
Honestly, I think if they were watching this, then they would have already seen that like more times than I have.
One would hope.
Or they don't care about watching it at all.
In which case, I'm sorry.
Because, like, I'm pretty sure most of the world saw Endgame.
Hopefully.
Yeah, like 2.7 billion is what it's made so far. It's like a lot of money. A lot of money. Anyways, John Wick. Okay. Do you want to start at the beginning of the 1 and 2?
Oh, sure. So, the John Wick franchise, we've been going back and forth about how we would describe it. Mike has been describing it as a kung fu movie with guns. And I think that's a very accurate description.
A 70s kung fu movie.
70s kung fu movie with guns.
Before the advent of wire fu.
I've been going, I lean towards it a little bit from the narrative structure, which is that it's a slasher film, but where the masked killer is actually the good guy, and John Wick is the Jason Voorhees, the Leatherneck, or the Leatherface, that kind of thing. And because you're here to watch people die. That's why you go see Friday the 13th. That's why you go see Nightmare on Elm Street. You go to watch dumb kids who kind of deserve it really get killed in very interesting and creative ways. You go to a John Wick movie to watch John Wick kill just everybody in creative and interesting ways.
But I will say this, not so much like a horror film in that there isn't a whole lot of blood and gore. It's still there, but the thing is they're hyper-realistic with how people die, which is a different thing. And so in most action films and most slasher films, it's like Tarantino, when someone gets shot in the chest, blood goes everywhere, you know. But that's not the case in reality. You get shot in the chest, blood doesn't spatter out, okay? If it goes through, it spatters behind you. Right, but it has to go through, and so that one shot is not gonna like produce a whole bunch of blood. And the thing is that it's also realistic in that if you have a balloon full of water, right, and you poke one hole in it, it's not going to leak out as fast. But you're gonna poke multiple holes in it, it's gonna leak out fast. So like when he shoots somebody, he shoots them a lot. All right, same thing with like stabbing and stuff. It's not just a one and done kind of deal. Whereas you see that in a lot of films, like, oh, I shot them in the arm and they fell over dead. That's right. No, it's not the case.
The movies go to a great deal of effort to be realistic in certain contexts.
Yeah,
in certain, very fantastic in other contexts.
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed, and I picked up on this because my sister-in-law was, maybe still is, I don't know, it's been a while, but was a competitive point shooter. Oh, cool. And she knows a great deal about guns, certainly more than I do. I'm lucky to know which end the bullet comes out of.
That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially.
But she talked about it, and she talks that a lot of his shots are, he shoots people multiple times, and that's not to be gratuitous. It's because almost all of his shots are to the center mass, which is where a trained shooter will shoot for. So he'll shoot a person 2 or 3 times, and you can get shot 2 or 3 times in the chest. You're dead, but you're not dead. You're going to die. You're going to die soon, but you're still alive. You can still be, get up and walk around for another minute or something.
Yeah.
And so he'll shoot people 2 or 3 times, shoot somebody else, and once the immediate threat is done, he then turns back around and gets the headshot. Which is apparently how trained firearms experts will generally try to do that kind of thing. Now they jazz it up with twists and turns and all sorts of fun stuff because it is a movie. Judo, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But that commitment to this is what a real gunfight will look like is really good. Another thing, also their commitment to realism that I like is, so you've got John Wick, who is this master killer, master assassin, master fighter, and he can do he's a master judo, he gets all his judo throws and everything. No, he doesn't actually. a lot of the close quarter combat sequences, you will see him struggle. He grabs somebody, they grab him, and they kind of struggle for position, and they hit each other, and John Wick will go for a throw, and it won't work, and so he twists and goes into another throw. There's a lot of subtlety to these action sequences that are missing from other kung fu movies, from other fight scenes. That he will try a thing and it just won't work, or he'll have to try a thing 2 or 3 times, or he'll have to try a thing while his opponent is trying a different thing.
Yeah, it's not that one and done thing, like I said,
Right.
like shooting in the arms. Like, he'll go for a technique and they'll counter it like they're supposed to,
Right.
and then he'll go for another thing. So it's not a matter of just knowing one thing and being really good. It's like, I know several things. I know everything that I can do and everything that they can do, and so I'm always you're gonna end up on your back and dead somehow.
What made Jackie Chan stand out against so many other martial art film characters and film actors in Hong Kong was he got hit. In his movies, he got hit, he got smacked, he got his ass kicked all the time, as opposed to, say, Bruce Lee. Now, he still would, win his fights, but his fights were a little bit more realistic because he'd, jam his fingers and all that kind of thing, and he'd play it for comedy. But the idea that this master martial artist, is still struggling to get techniques. It's not, I'm going to do this judo throw, and I do this judo throw perfectly. It's, I'm going to do this judo throw. Oh, no, wait, they blocked it. And that really adds some realism to it. That this is, even as a master that he is depicted to be, he still struggles, he still trips, he still falls over his opponents. So wonderful in that regard.
The key thing to pick up on is that even though he does struggle and stuff, he keeps going. That's one of the main reasons why he's successful, is that he never gives up. Even when he's been hit, even when he's been cut, even when he's been thrown or punched or whatever, he does not stop. He's like a force of nature almost. He just keeps going. So he has that mental discipline to keep going. Just, relating it to it, he stays calm and keeps going. Right. And that's going to be it's a huge thing. It's a mental thing.
The world of John Wick is a shadowy world of an underworld that is not very well defined deliberately. It is a world of safe havens and complicated social structures that all exist beneath the veneer of the world we recognize. That there is this whole subculture of gangsters and assassins and safe houses and support systems for these assassins and whatnot, in a very complicated, again, kind of underworld that is really, really beautiful. In John Wick 1 and 2, and I haven't seen 3, as Mike mentioned, but the second movie leans heavily into the obligations of this underworld, and there's so much fun there to be had. They really create this wealth of narrative options for them that they're hopefully going to be exploring in John Wick 4, and I hope they're going to be just leaning into and making this a full franchise, because boy, is it nice.
I mean, it is a full franchise at this point. I say it's 3 movies. They're working on a 4th one. And the thing is that the reason why I say it's like a Kung Fu 70s film is that the character, the whole plot of every single movie, and we're not spoiling this, is just to give the main character a reason to kill everybody. And that is exactly what some of these old style Kung Fu films are, is that they give the main character a reason to beat everybody else up. All right, and the fun of the movie and the fun of the action film is just watching him creatively beat everybody up, right? And so there are some absolutely fun, fantastic fight scenes in all of these movies. And like I said, I'll be talking about the John Wick 3 whenever it's my turn. Are we still on you?
One more thing I do want to talk about.
Supposed to spell a number with my tongue, then knowing it isn't love, 'cause love is nothing when it's not enough.